Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2021 Buick Envision. We're going to head out on the highway, do 50 miles out, 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get you a realistic highway fuel economy number for this compact crossover. Before we get started, let's hop out, take a quick look at it. Buick's version of the technically GMC Terrain and Chevy Equinox, the sharp-looking Envision. I kind of like the way this thing looks. It's a little blacked out for my taste. I think I'd do without the black wheels, but you gotta admit, it's kind of sharp-looking and decently packaged, well-sized. A lot going on with it, so if you want to see more on the Envision, check the link in the description for our Bose sound system test and our DM test drive. Now, why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this Envision 29 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are people who take their vehicles on long trips and would like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect in the real world. So in order to do that, we're heading over to the gas station. We're going to fill up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, if you've just come for the result, I know there's some of you who don't want to watch the whole video, so I will put a chapter right to the end showing the result, but all I ask is you hit like and subscribe then, help support the channel if you're not going to watch the whole thing and give us that ad revenue. A few things to note: outside temperature today is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, tire pressures have been set to the door placard 35 psi cold, and we're going to run the interior climate control at 73 degrees auto. And yes, this will use the air conditioner, but that's how people travel in the real world, and without it we would roast. So let's hop out and fill it up. 2.628 gallons going in for our initial fill. Before we actually start the engine, we're going to reset our GPS. Interestingly, you can't reset your trip computer here in the Envision without starting the car. So typically we do that before we start the engine, but looks like we'll have to start it up and do it then. Climate control at 73 auto. GPS is reset. We're ready to roll. A few different drive modes in the Envision. You've got Tour, all-wheel drive, Sport, and what is it, Snow? Off-road. So we're going to do this test in Tour. That should keep it mostly with front-wheel drive, even though this is the all-wheel drive model. We're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway, about half a mile away, pick up the test from there. The goal of this test isn't to hype per mile. We're not trying to get the best fuel economy numbers possible, but rather to get a realistic fuel economy number. So we're going to get up to highway speed here and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 73 miles per hour. Now, if we're averaging 70 near the end of the test, we'll knock that down a little bit. 2-liter turbo and 9-speed automatic getting us up to highway speeds, no problem. Interestingly, no adaptive cruise control, even at $43,000. I think that'd be a pretty commonplace sort of thing at this point, but not so in the Envision Essence. Speedometer is very accurate though, 73 on the dash, was giving us 73 on the GPS, now it's dropped to 72, so maybe we'll bump up one. Very light steering in the Envision. You can see there's a fair bit of play. And off-center, you can do that with the wheel and nothing happens to the outside of the car. So not something you see too often in new cars, but I guess that's something that Buick wanted to have in their car. So we're going to continue on with the rest of the test out this Bose audio system. We'll catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time-lapse of the entire trip. to the highway fuel economy test here in the Buick Envision. Some cars that we test here at Daily Motor are great highway cruisers. Something like the Volkswagen Passat just eats away miles, super efficient, super just steady and stable and serene. The Buick Envision just does the highway. It survives. It's not remarkable. It's just a car on the highway. I'm not uncomfortable, but I'm not supremely comfortable. It's not quiet. It's not loud. It's wholly unremarkable. That being said, we are averaging 3 miles per gallon above EPA, according to the car's trip computer, 32.2 miles per gallon. And we had a very clean 70 mile per hour average speed. So, we're going to get back to the gas station, fill up, and see what sort of numbers we actually get, calculating it with fuel going in. But so far, looking up for fuel economy-wise, at least, with the Buick Envision. 32.3 miles per gallon on the dash coming into the end. GPS says 108.4 miles done, and car says 108.5. So much more accurate than the 2 mile difference that we saw in the Tucson that we just recently tested. Let's fill it up. 3.391 gallons going in. 108.4 divided by 3.391 gallons is giving us 31.9 miles per gallon. Rounding up to 32. So nicely done, little Buick. The way I see it, as long as your compact crossover can get at least 30 miles per gallon, most consumers are going to be happy with that. It's only when they start dipping below 30 that you're like, really? And it's only if it could get above 40s from the hybrids and stuff that you're like, wow, that's really impressive. But mid-30s, I think most people are going to be pretty satisfied. So 32 miles per gallon times the 15.9 gallon fuel tanks, giving you an effective highway cruising range of 500 miles here in the Buick Envision all-wheel drive. So a little bit better than I expected. Not too bad for this little 2-liter turbo. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more on the Envision, check out the review of our Bose audio system and our DM test drive. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.